Welcome to Upper Key Stage 2 phase research. As a phase, we pose the question, how can multidimensional representations lead to improved attainment for white British pupil premium children in maths? Based on Key 4 of Joe Bowler's Limitless Mind book, we wanted to develop our teaching practice and see how a multidimensional approach could be implemented within maths. According to our school data, it showed that across Year 5 and 6, white British pupil premium children were not attaining the expected level of progression across reading, writing, and maths. With this in mind, as a phase, we wanted to ensure that we were then creating and delivering a variety of tasks which would give all the children the opportunity to access the learning as well as developing our own teaching practice. Having researched the multidimensional approach, we believed that it would challenge all children and enable them to develop and practice a limitless approach in their learning. Through this, the children would be developing their collaborative and coaching skills, as well as building their resilience and thinking processes within maths. As teachers, we want to enable our children to learn and lead without barriers, and by implementing the multidimensional approach, we hoped to achieve this. In Year 5 and 6, we understand the importance of allowing the children to flourish within their learning. In doing so, our research focused on equipping the children with the knowledge of a multidimensional approach and to value the many dimensions of maths. We also wanted the children to develop their growth mindset and resilience with their approach to mathematical questioning. To do this, the children would need to identify and apply their skills they have learned throughout their years in Foxfield. In order for the multidimensional approach to be effective, it was key to understand the relevance of a growth mindset and how this would aid the children's learning. Research suggests that having a growth mindset have real benefits, for instance, reframing our approach, higher motivation, enhanced brain development across wider ranges of tasks, and higher performance levels. Carol Dweck found that children who pushed through challenges believed they could improve, whereas those who pulled back from challenges believed their abilities couldn't. For the research, it was important to develop tasks that allowed for rich reasoning questions, that enabled children to use multiple approaches to give rise to their confidence in their own learning. It's also important that children are also challenged and struggle so that they value their learning. Through this challenge and struggle, children begin to develop multiple methods to approach a question. The multiple methods encourage children then to collaborate and make connection with their peers. They can learn and lead without barriers, independently and with each other. By implementing these mathematical mindset practices, we were hoping to develop a multiple dimensional approach that the children could use within maths. As a phase, we introduced the multidimensional approach during the end of Spring 2. Children were already equipped with the skills to use when answering math questions, but they had to be able to apply multiple skills to one question. By incorporating the multidimensional approach, children began to seek opportunities and express their own individual thought processes. At the same time, a growth mindset and resilience became embedded in their learning. Towards the latter stages of the research, the children began to show independence by approaching mathematical statements and choosing which method they felt confident to use.
So I liked multidimensional learning in maths because I liked how it gave lots of different ways for the children to learn, and it expanded their knowledge into different ways of solving the math problem. Even though there was just one problem, they gave multiple different ways to solve the actual question to get multiple different answers and thoroughly find out the answer to the question. And since they had multiple different ways, then they would be able to see if they had any mistakes before.
In my opinion, I really enjoyed using the multi-dimensional approach, and it was really effective for me because it let me as a pupil recognize my strengths and weaknesses of how to answer a question, and it was helping me to answer one question in many different forms. So, adding to my point, I think the teachers should have introduced it earlier because it would have helped children like me to answer a question by explaining it, drawing it, writing a math story about it or representing it by using counters.
At the beginning of the research, we focused on primarily white British pupil premium children based on the school data. However, we found that using the multidimensional approach in fact benefited all children across both year groups. We found that the children's reasoning and deductive skills, as well as their confidence during the lesson, had progressed significantly. The children began to actively seek opportunities to challenge themselves, and we found that they were not restricting themselves during independent work by depending on a singular method. They started to utilize all their math skills across a variety of math questions. By implementing the multidimensional approach through deliberate practice within the lessons, the children were now investing in their own learning and in essence becoming self-directed and lifelong learners.